Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming on the call. Tonight, we're talking about one of our favorite topics, hormones. Because as you know, as women, right, if our hormones are out of whack, we're miserable. And you can see a few of the symptoms that can happen there, like headaches and cramps and bloating, and it just makes our life miserable. And so tonight, we're going to really focus in and show you some natural alternatives that you can do, some foods you can eat, and we're going to talk a little bit about the glands as well. So I was actually introduced to Neolife 29 years ago. And at the time, I got introduced because of my son, but I was also a bad headache sufferer and PMS. And so I was able to straighten that out once I got my body back in balance. And just to clarify tonight, the products we talk about do not cure, diagnose, treat any disease, but it's amazing what the body can do when it gets the right stuff. So let's talk a little bit about the thyroid. That's one of the most important glands in the body. It produces two hormones, T4 and T3, and also calcitron, which regulates calcium and bone health. And it actually affects every single cell in our body. So what happens when the thyroid doesn't work? Well, if it's overactive, what is just known as hyperthyroidism, which is about 1 to 2% of people, it can cause things like you've heard of Graves' disease, autoimmune thyroid. And if it's too low, that's when you get into things like Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism. And that's where people gain a lot of weight and they're very sluggish. And no matter what they do, they can't lose weight. That's when the thyroid's not working and when it's a low thyroid. So it's a really super common health problem. It affects 23% of the population. And unfortunately, it's mostly women, but up to 20 to 30% of people are undiagnosed and they're classified as what they say subclinical hypothyroidism. So in other words, they're not right in the zone where it's low thyroid, but they're on that cusp. So they're still getting a lot of the symptoms. So what are some of the common signs of hypothyroid? Well, a lot of people are tired, constipated is very common. I'm not going to read them all. You can look through, but loss of the third of eyebrow hair is a very common symptom. Irregular heartbeat, infertility, raging hot flashes and night sweats. All these can be signs of hypothyroid. So what's some of the foods that disrupt our hormones? Well, if you drink coffee that's not organic, the pesticides in the coffee create a lot of havoc to our hormones. Alcohol, of course, commercial dairy products that are very high in estrogen. Commercial meat and chicken are full of estrogen and testosterone. Farmed fish, because of the food that they feed them. And fruits and vegetables that are high in pesticides. All of those disrupt our hormones and cause havoc. And it's interesting because a lot of people are so nervous about taking soy these days. And there's a lot of research that's coming out. I know Dr. Lee, who wrote the book, Eat to Beat Disease, he says, we got to put the soy issue to bed because it definitely is not accurate. And so they did a study and they looked at soy intake of over 5,000 breast cancer survivors. And what was the results? Not what they're saying that it causes cancer. It actually reduced the risk of death by 29%. And reduce the reoccurrence by 32%, which is huge, right? And the reason they knew something was up was because you think in Asia, where they eat so much soy, they have the lowest breast cancer rates. And in North America, where we eat very little soy, it's very, very high. And also MD Anderson, they also proved that soy may benefit breast cancer survivors. And they're a very well-respected cancer institute. And here's showing that women with breast cancer eat more soy. Sorry, I'm going to turn my video off for a sec. Are less likely to die or have a reoccurrence of cancer than women who eat few or no soy products. And this was a journal of the American Medical Association way back in even 2012. And Stanford School of Medicine says soy is just fine. It's actually an excellent source of protein, fiber, B vitamins, iron, calcium, isoflavonoids, so it's very nutrient rich and also protects your bones. And they're actually saying again here that certain soy proteins common in the Asian diet have been shown to inhibit even prostate cancer cell growth. So it's there's lots of benefits for all the hormones in the body. And another big problem we have in North America. It's a genetically modified organisms, right? So for instance, if you get a soybean, and this is another reason where soy kind of got a bad rap, they actually use genes from a plant, a microbe, and a mouse. So that is not natural. That's not like real non-GMO organic soy. It's a totally different animal for sure. And what are some of the most common genetically modified foods today? You get things like corn and tomatoes and papaya, and of course, soybeans, and even our salmon is genetically modified now. So there's sugar beets, which they make a lot of our white sugar from. So there's a lot of it in our environment. And, you know, in Europe, it's banned. You are not allowed to have any genetically modified organisms in any of the foods over there. And they know that because it's dangerous. And so that's one thing that really impressed me when I was introduced to Neolife. I know Dr. First, when he was at the very first conference where they brought the tomato out, he says, we have to put things in place now so we make sure that none of our seed stocks or our plants or animals, they're all identity preserved so that there's no genetically modified organisms and every single product is tested. So it's very, very unique. And let's look at some vitamin D, because when we talk about the thyroid, a big problem is that autoimmune thyroid. A lot of people get those nodules or thyroid cancer. So vitamin D helps to modulate the immune system. And in North America, like you think last month, we had what, 25 days with no sunshine at all. So and even if it is sunny, we can't go out in a bikini when it's weather like this, right? It's way, way too cold. So we are definitely not getting enough vitamin D in the environment. And in fact, North America is known notoriously for having very, very low vitamin D levels. So this is where we can fill that gap with the Neolife Vegan D. You don't have to be vegan to take it, but the nice thing is it's all plant sourced, because most of the vitamin Ds out there are sourced from sheep wool. It's called lanolin, but this is whole food, unique plant source. And I know with my clients and customers, once they start taking this and they go and get their levels checked, they're absorbing it, the levels go up. And that's what's important for sure. So let's talk a little bit about goiters. You've probably seen people who got that kind of bulge in their neck. Well, they develop when the thyroid gland doesn't make enough hormone. So what happens, the thyroid gland tries to make up for this shortage by growing larger. And certain areas of the world have, you know, very rampant goiters because there's not enough iodine in their diet, causing the thyroid to grow. Some of them are caused by certain medications. Things like lithium can cause it, and that's a bipolar drug. Hereditary, female gender. It's more common in people over 40. And also in autoimmune diseases where the immune system attacks the thyroid, it'll make it grow as well. And then those nodule growths called nodules in the thyroid gland cause it to grow larger as well. And I know so many, even young people now who've had their thyroid removed. So thyroid, iron, and ferritin. Let's talk a little bit about that. So if you have low iron in your blood, it decreases the T3 and T4 hormone, which is important for thyroid, right? And low iron impairs the conversion of T3 to the more potent T4 to the more potent T3. And low iron goes hand in hand with low ferritin because low thyroid causes low hydrochloric acid in the stomach. Remember when we talk about digestion, you need that acid to absorb iron. And if you don't have it, you can become very anemic. And I know with a lot of my clients, I tell people, you know, like make sure and get your blood test, compare the values. If you start to see your level going down, you want to kind of nip it in the bud. You don't want to wait until it's really, really low, because there's such a huge range that is supposedly okay for iron levels that by the time you're in low, you're you're severely anemic. And low thyroid also causes low body temperature, causing you to make less red blood cells. And that's where iron is carried. And a lot of people feel cold. And low thyroid causes very heavy periods, which again causes you to lose more iron, and you get into that vicious cycle. So what are some of the symptoms of low iron? Tiredness is one, peeling fingernails, heart palpitations, dark circles under your eyes, fertility issues is a big one, hair loss. If you go gray early, that can be one. Trouble concentrating, very pale skin, heavy periods, low thyroid, cold hands and feet, restless legs, and very breathless with exertion. And the average Canadian gets only 8 milligrams of iron in their diet, and they actually need 20. So there's a big gap there. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about the adrenal glands. And Nat, I know that was one area that you had a lot of issues with, right?
I did. You know, Mary Ellen, I didn't understand the power of hormones and adrenals. And some of you know my story, but I was working as a police officer in Toronto, and I was in my 20s. But I remember when I was in even in my teens, you know, with my cycle and everything, I really, really struggled with heavy periods. And I would even not able to exercise for a couple of days during that time of the month. And I would even faint sometimes. So it was a real challenge. But when I worked shift work, the fatigue really set in. And I know that not sleeping properly and with the schedule of being all over the place, I was drained and my hormones were stressed. And I didn't understand that, you know, when your body is trying to adapt, it's exhausting. I was tired all the time and I had adrenal gland exhaustion. And, you know, I didn't understand that the adrenals and hormones played such a big role. So first of all, they produce stress hormones for stress adaptation. And I was struggling with this. Aids in kidneys in controlling water balance, provides hormones as the ovaries decrease production. The adrenals also produce progesterone and estrogen precursor hormones and testosterone, which balance the effects of cortisol. And that also helps to deal with stress, right? So when you look at the stress that's going on in our life, it's like we need our hormones and our glands to be functioning properly so that we can deal with stress better. And in males, so we have to remember that, can't forget the guys, right? In males, the adrenals are the exclusive source of estrogen. So this plays a really critical role in men as well. And exhausted adrenals promote low thyroid, and exhausted adrenals also equal imbalanced hormones. So I really had serious issues with my hormones, and I didn't understand why. And I ate healthy, exercise, but there were certain things, certain nutrients that I realized later that was missing in my diet to help to support that. And some symptoms of adrenal fatigue, you fall asleep fine, but you wake up and can't get back to sleep, low thyroid, again, just the fatigue and exhaustion. I was always tired, woke up tired, went to bed tired, you know, and your blood sugar is all over the place. And some people have back pain and muscle weakness and weak legs and low and high blood pressure, allergies. And that was me. I was using antihistamines pretty much year round, lived on antihistamines. And then there's also nervousness, anxiety, insomnia, craving, whether it be sugar, coffee, salt, alcohol, also increase or decrease in skin pigment, and also shortness of breath. So you have a struggle with keeping your breath normal, and also infection and digestive troubles as well. And I did have a digestive problem as well. So, you know, we have what we call a hormone recipe. And we're going to focus on these nutrients. And I loved when one of our doctors shared with us that it's like baking a cake. You can't just take one thing, like flour will not give you a cake, right? You need eggs, you need, you know, baking powder, baking soda, all these ingredients in order for this cake to rise. Well, your hormones are very complicated and they need a variety of different nutrients to work properly, and they need good fats. They're called lipids and sterols. They need vitamins, they need trace elements and minerals and omega-3 fatty acids and protein. So these are the key nutrients that are critical and necessary to make sure your hormones are working properly. So for the adrenal support, Neil has to offer just a few products, and we're going to go into a little more detail on some of these nutrients. But the Pro Vitality we're going to talk about, it contains the grain oils called Cheyenne. It has vitamin C. Extra vitamin C is also very, very important for adrenal glands for stress adaptation. The Neil Life Shake, the protein shake, it supplies all the 22 amino acid that helps to build hormones and your neurotransmitters. Your vitamin B, Super B is amazing. And also try to de-stress. Meditation and breathing exercises also really help with adrenal support as well. Now let's talk a little bit about the grain oils in this study, because this is what drew me to the company, because I really thought that if I was eating healthy and exercising, that I didn't need to supplement. I did not know that these grain oils were gone. Well, Neolife developed a product back in 1958 based on this study that was done on our food, where they found that, first of all, there was a hospital study with patients that were suffering with chronic fatigue, and their adrenal glands weren't working properly. So they had adrenal gland exhaustion, and they were given these grain oils, these oils from grain, and they got well. This was done in the 40s. And this product called Formula 4 or Cheyenne that Neolife introduced in 1958 is still our #1 product. This is still, I'm still in awe that nobody has it. It's been around for 65 years, and it's helping people all over the world. This product changed my life. I was feeling better. My hormones were balanced. My periods got normal. I have to say that, I don't even know if I even went through menopause. Like, I just sailed right through. So these grain oils play such a critical role in regulating and balancing your hormones. And this was actually the study that was published. And, they did the adrenal activity, the estrogen activity. When you look at this study going way, way back, we're so grateful that we have the scientific advisory board to have this in place. So what these grain oils do, these lipids and sterols, so when you add the good carbs, the good proteins and fats, it helps with the thyroid, produce energy, and for male hormones and female hormones, they also help with tissue formation. So this is your whole body. So these essential fatty acids are critical for every single cell function in your body. And you do need to look at your diet. You need to look at what you're putting in. Reality is that 75% of all chronic diseases are preventable. So you need to eat more fruits and vegetables. You need to supplement what's missing in your diet to fill those nutritional gaps. And we always say, the 3 keys to optimal health are weight management, a healthy diet, and physical activity. Well, what areas do you need to improve? What's missing? Where's the gap? And that's where supplementation plays such a big role. And I have to say, there's a lot of people out there that eat healthy. And I'm going to have Rose Pilato. When I met Rose, she has an incredible diet. She is vegetarian. She eats a lot of fruits and vegetables, very little sugar. I don't think I've ever seen you eat sweets. And she had some issues. So I'm going to have her share her health journey and how supplementing and how these grain oils have impacted her life. So Rose, welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Nada. And great information, Mary Ellen. I have to say, as I'm listening to all this, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know how I made it through all these years, like actually being healthy without having like the supplements and everything on top of that. But great information. And really for my story, I was introduced to Neolife, I think in 2017 is when I actually really got serious about it. But I, like Nada, did not take supplements. I didn't think I needed to. I did eat pretty healthy, but I was tired all the time. And I remember that, like as Nada was saying that too, I was kind of thinking back, and that was one thing that I always did struggle with, right? And just, it's okay. I would go through the day and everything, but then I'd fall asleep very easily. And then sometimes like mid 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it was always kind of like my downtime sort of thing. But as I was getting older, I realized, I was losing focus, and that was really getting scary, because I'm a go-getter at work, and I'm very focused at work, and I do a lot of things. And when I started to kind of feel like I was moving away from that, I didn't understand. And that's kind of when I did meet Nada. And I was always struggled with low iron. So Mary Ellen talked a lot about that. And it's one thing I was always diagnosed every time I went for my annual health check or whatever. And so it was this constant like up and down. I'd go to the doctor, she'd tell me I was low in iron. I'd start taking some iron just to kind of appease her, and then just, kind of leave that off again. But until I met Nada, I realized that the reason that those iron pills that I was taking wasn't doing anything for me was because my body wasn't absorbing it. I wasn't only lacking iron because, as she said, I was vegetarian. My protein was very minimal in my diet, and I didn't realize the importance of protein. So I started on the shakes, and a big difference, like honestly. And Nada mentioned that about menopause. I too, I sailed right through that. So don't know what that is, thank God. And luckily, like I said, I started in 2017. It was shortly after that. So you can catch up, right? Like, so don't worry if you think, oh my gosh, I'm almost there and whatever, I have to start. But I really believe that with I take the Pro Vitality, and I think we'll get into that a little bit more, right? Like the breakfast solution is what I do every day. My husband as well. We've added a lot of other supplements because, as Nada was saying, you can eat as healthy as you think you can, but unfortunately our foods aren't the same as they were. They're not like we're at the mercy of what we're actually eating. And as good as you try to make those choices, we don't know how good they are. And sometimes it's hard to detect exactly what's missing. So when she talks more about the Pro Vitality pack and everything, that's a great way to start because it sort of fills those gaps, as she said. So I'm very grateful that she did introduce me to it, obviously. And I really do. I'm feeling probably better now. Like when I think back, like I think to how my days were, and I really do feel better. I have a lot more energy. I'm a walker. I walk over 2 hours, like almost every day. And then just started going to the gym as well. So who starts going to the gym into their 50s, right? Like, so it's kind of, it's because of Neolife. So thank you. I'm sorry I went on a little bit, but thank you so much for allowing me to share that. And I'm really excited about all of you listening to more about the information for Neolife. Thank you, Nada.
Thank you. No, your journey is amazing. And I have to tell you, she does walk 2 hours and I have a hard time keeping up with her. She's like your Energizer bunny. and you know what? Rose does eat healthy. And our Canadian Food Guide, they made this amazing change back in 2019, right? Where half of your diet, right, should be those dark colored fruits and veggies and a little bit of protein and a little bit of whole grain and water should be your drink of choice. And the challenge is you are not eating, 9 to 13 servings of dark colored fruits and vegetables and grains. Our grains are milled and processed. And we're going to get into that a little bit. And again, lots of water, really important that you should be drinking water. It does amazing things to the body. But this is the biggest challenge. And this is a recent study that came out of Lancet in over 190 countries. And they found that it's what we aren't eating is actually killing us. This was a global study. We're not eating enough grains, fruits, nuts, and seeds, omega-3 and low vegetables. It's a challenge. And in 2010, there was a study that they did with women who ate diets that were high in vegetables, fruit, fish, and whole grains. They were less likely to suffer from depression, right? So we got to look at what is missing in our diet. And again, our grains are not the same as Rose was saying. They're all of our foods, and especially our grains, are milled and processed. They used to grow wheat, grind wheat, make flour, make bread, and it had a very short shelf life, right? Within a day or two, it was rancid. Whereas they discovered that if they removed that critical oil from the grain, they can make our flours and our breads and our cereals have a longer shelf life. And we're now third generation, not having these essential fatty acids, which means they're critical and we need them. And we're left with this white flour, processed grain, starch, and a lot of gluten. So it's just not the same. It wasn't the same. And we're not getting these essential nutrients. So we do really need to supplement. We need to fill the gap. And Mary Ellen, what's the big challenge that we're having out there today when it comes to supplementing?
I know it's so shocking that people think because something's in a store that it's safe, because I hear people say that all the time. But it's not only did the University of Guelph several years ago go and study all the products in health food stores and drugstores and found none of them met label claims. Again, between 2007 and 2016, there were 776 products that contained active ingredients that were unsafe or unstudied. So there's a lot of problems out there, and you have to really trust who you deal with. That's the key. And there's a certain criteria. Like when I was introduced to Neolife, I realized it was definitely a name that I could trust. The fact that it had been around since 1958, never had a dietary recall. It's in over 50 countries around the world, and they meet or exceed all the health standards of every single country. And they have a pharmaceutical license, so they have to list every single ingredient, where a lot of companies miss ingredients. And that's why you get things that aren't that healthy. Because a lot of people will show me a label and I say, it looks okay. But yet there's a couple things like, is it just natural? Because and natural can be anything from the ground, where whole food, the whole grains, fruits and vegetables, wild salmon, what you were talking there, Nada, about that Lancet study, that's what Neolife makes their products from, because they know that's what we're missing in our diet. We're not missing pine bark and coal tar and all those other natural ingredients, anything from the ground. And I was so impressed with the scientific advisory board. The founding member, of course, is Dr. Arthur First, one of the top toxicologists in the world. He was a co-founder of oral chemotherapy. And when he was doing his research in cancer, he found nutrients in food to prevent disease. And not just cancer, all diseases. And that's why he joined up with Neolife in the 1970s, because of the whole food philosophy. It's based in nature, but backed by science. And he set up a prestigious scientific advisory board of world-renowned scientists and researchers, and they're involved in the research and development of the product, which sometimes take decades. It's not just a good-looking doctor who endorses the product. And we get to hear directly from these scientists. And on January 28th, 4 of them will be speaking at our wellness kickoff. And I really highly recommend that you listen to this, because the information is unbelievable. And the most important thing, are the products independently tested and published in peer-reviewed journals to prove that they work. And many of Neolife products are published in, very prestigious, even the New England Journal of Medicine, FASEPS, so many different research things. And if you want to see this research, we can definitely provide it for you.
Absolutely.
And so, Nada, how do we fill this gap with our supplements?
Well, filling the gap is the key, Mary Ellen. And we talked about that Lancet study and the grain oils and fruits and veggies and omega-3 fish. Well, this is really the foundation. And Rose talked about the Vitality Pack, and this is the core nutrition. This with the protein shake, it is definitely the foundation. And when we go deeper into this presentation this evening, I just want you to know that we always recommend starting with the foundation, the core nutrition. And then we can always add other things if needed down the road. So we're going to be covering a lot of different products, but just remember, starting with the basics is always the best place to start, and then you build on this. So let's talk about these 4 amazing products that are in this Vitality Pack. Those grain oils that we talked about, that Neolife started in 1958, right? This is that one product that is in this little Vitality Pack. And it's the essential oils from those grains, and less gluten than a bowl of gluten-free cereal, because so many people have sensitivities to wheat and gluten. And this was developed, again, from the hospital research study, and it was proven to promote cellular energy and efficiency. Your cells work better, and you start to notice a difference. And it reduces menopause symptoms. And Rose even hit it on the nail. Like, when you look at these grain oils, they fill the gap. So she mentioned how she had a great diet. She had eats lots of greens. There's lots of iron in her food. But guess what? The cells weren't absorbing the nutrients. So as soon as you add these lipids, this TRINN concentrate to your diet, your cells start to absorb the nutrients better, and even proven to absorb by 50% more. Texas A&M University did their own studies using this product. Your cells will absorb better, you feel better. Incredible difference. I'll tell you, your life will change. And then when you add this carotenoid that's in this Vitality Pack, that's the fruits and veggies. Now, I have to say, Rose probably eats a lot of fruits and vegetables, but who here eats 13 servings every single day? The dark colors, the reds, the blues, the purples, the greens. It's hard. This one carotenoid in this pack, it's equivalent to consuming 80 pounds of raw fruits and vegetables in every box, and proven to boost your immune system 37% in 20 days. Amazing product, a powerhouse of antioxidants, all fruits and vegetables. Then there's our omega-3. It's hard to eat clean fish. And omega-3 plays such a big role with your heart and behavior, your brain and joints and cognitive health. So critical for your entire body, especially reducing inflammation. Well, our omega-3, or salmon oil, is tested for 200 contaminants with an allowance of 0, no tolerance. So better than certified organic, because the organic industry has an allowance of toxins. We have a 0 tolerance factor. And it was proven, clinically proven, to reduce inflammation 68% in just 8 weeks. This is proven, a proven product. The studies are incredible. And also safe for moms that are pregnant. There's so many products out there. Right on the label, it says, don't take if you're pregnant. Well, this is safe. And it was featured by the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. So this was in the UK. They have very high and strict standards. When you add this multivitamin to this pack, it really is a Cadillac of multis, because you're getting a multivitamin, you're getting your Cheyenne, your salmon oil, and your carotenoid, all in this convenient pack, 1 pack a day. It's a great way to fill the gap. It's equivalent to consuming 12 pounds of whole grains, 80 pounds of raw fruits and vegetables, and 10 servings of omega-3 fish in every box. So it provides so much energy and, again, immune system, brain health, and just lifelong cellular health. Then when you add this lovely protein shake that I have been drinking every day for 33 years, it is just such a great way to start your morning. Tastes fantastic, comes in vanilla, chocolate, and creamy berry. It has all 22 amino acids. It's a complete protein. It is the building blocks for tissue repair, cell repair, brain repair. It helps with digestion, because as we get older, our digestive system is compromised. Also helps to fight infection and disease. So builds what they call T cells, immune response cells. Very important for your skin, and collagen. It makes collagen because it has all 22 amino acids. It also helps to regulate your blood sugar. So when you get older, we kind of, I find, you know, when you do start hitting your 40s and 50s, it's also hard to regulate your body fat. And by regulating blood sugar, it's easier to maintain, and you get to burn fat better. So it's just an amazing product overall. It's completely natural, has all 22 amino acids, like I said, and it does have that blood sugar control. It's a complete meal replacement, whole food antioxidants, nothing artificial. And it's even safe for kids. And Mary Ellen, these are your grandkids, and my kids grew up on this product in a sippy cup, just like these guys. Easy to digest, and again, no GMO ingredients. So really important. There's no preservatives in this product. And we launched the vegan option. For those of you that want more plant-based, tastes fantastic, comes in vanilla, and it's the first and only biologically complete vegan protein shake on the market. Very important, and it does help to regulate blood sugar. So again, great for weight loss, great for diabetes, prevents fat storage, promotes fat burning, and just great for energy. So even if you don't have weight to lose, it's a meal that gives you the nutrients that you need. But we've had such amazing results and great success with weight loss. This is one of Mary Ellen's customers, Gabby, who, oh my gosh, Mary Ellen, when she did this weight loss, we were like, wow. She was a young mom of 3 little kids. Her husband had passed away and left her with these kids. And she knew that she had to make a change, right, in her health to take care of her little ones. And what's really nice is it kept the weight off. That's the beauty of our weight management program. But it is a great breakfast for the whole family. And again, it's easy, it's delicious, a complete meal replacement, just a great way to start your morning. But it does help to regulate hormones. And Sarina's not joining us tonight, but I spoke with her earlier, and she wanted me to share with you that, you know, when she was hitting her 40s and getting close to menopause, she struggled with weight gain and brain fog. And when she started on that breakfast solution and added the protein shake, she was shrinking. So she wanted me to share that with you. And she feels great. The brain fog was gone. And she's so excited. You know, she's sailing through menopause, which is what we want. And she just wanted me to share that journey with you as well. But let's talk a little bit more about some of the serious conditions. And we're hearing more and more about Hashimoto's disease. This is a story of a young girl who her name is Flavia, and she, for 5 years ago, she was diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease, a thyroid condition, and the doctor said that she had a 5% chance of not being on medication for the rest of her life. And she started medication, but her request with my request, she also changed her diet and started the Meal Life supplements. And 6 months later, she was medication free. These are the kind of stories we have. And we don't take people off medication. Okay, that's not our job. But it's amazing when you give you know, give the body what it needs, the proper nutrients, that doctors realize like, oh, wow, you're improving, and they will monitor and take you off your medication when you're ready. Okay. And then there's Linda. Linda also was suffering from digestive issues and also a Hashimoto's. And she was told to take 2 of the Vitality Packs a day. And that's great because it's made from food. It will not hurt you to take 2. And she started adding the protein shake as well. And then she did the detox and added digestive products as well, a sports pack and antioxidants. And guess what? After the past 6 months on all of the above, Linda has recently received results from her general practitioner as well as her naturopath doctors that her blood work shows no sign of Hashimoto's. So these are the kinds of stories we get all the time, right? Just by adding proper nutrition. And here's the story from Cheyenne. I'm hoping you can hear it. I'll try to put it a little bit louder, but she shares her story as well. And I know she shares with me that if it wasn't for the good nutrition, you know, that she wouldn't be able to be doing what she's doing, her passion, and creating amazing hair. So anyways, I'm going to have her share her story, and it's quite powerful. This was only after 2 weeks of her using Neolife.
My name is Cheyenne. I've been using Neolife just for 2 weeks now, which doesn't seem like a long time, but you'd be surprised. I have 3 different autoimmune disorders. I have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, positive rheumatoid arthritis factors in my joints, and I have PCOS. I am 25, and just being on Neolife for 2 weeks, I already eliminated. I have coffee out of my diet. Like, I have so much energy. I used to be sore all the time, which I'm already noticing that's going away. My energy levels, like I said, with my PCOS and my Hashimoto's. So I have a lot more life in me, and yeah. Oh, I'm on Pro Vitality Pack, so the breakfast pack. So I take the grain oils, the carotenoids, the salmon, and the multivitamin, and the shakes every day, and I love it.
And I see her quite regularly. And
Shelley, thank you so much for.
And the difference in her health has been just incredible. So balancing hormones, the basic hormone recipe, which is the breakfast solution and the grain oils. A few other things that kind of complete that hormone recipe is calcium, magnesium, called CalMag, multi-mineral, and sometimes extra TRINN is needed. So when we talk about that basic recipe, you're looking at the breakfast solution, which is the protein shake with the Pro Vitality. If you have serious issues, or you're coming out of maybe recovery from a disease, really struggling with menopause, severe PMS, you might have to add a couple of extra things. But what I would like now is I would love to have our dear friend Joan share her journey. She's a friend of Mary Ellen's as well. She's been part of our team for many years, Mary Ellen, and Joan's story is absolutely wonderful. She's a registered nurse, retired registered nurse, and I'm going to have her join us now. So Joan, welcome.
Thank you, Nada, for allowing me to share my story. I'd like to say I'm a 30-year breast cancer survivor. I prefer to call myself a thriver, being on the Neolife products. I had surgery and 6 months of chemotherapy. And after chemo, I started searching for something to boost my immune system and my energy level. And I started to health food stores and alternative therapies. And fortunately, I met Mary Ellen at a jewelry party, and she shared Neolife with me. And that's almost 28 years ago. And I was drawn to the science behind the products. And I started using the products. Thank God I was open to it. And what a difference. In a few weeks, I felt a huge difference in my energy level. My immune system got stronger over the years, and I don't get sick as often. And I had some seasonal allergies that went away. So, and one of the things in terms of the breast cancer, you know, in hindsight, you look back and say, well, what could I have done, or what could I do? And one of them was stress. I think that was a huge part of me getting sick. And so I work on that area by taking the supplements. The supplements help me to deal with stress better. And of course, learning, you know, coping strategies and minimizing stressful situations and creating my boundaries and One of the big things I had to learn was learning to say no. So those type of things. And I was very mindful of my environment. I am now, but before I was totally unaware of the toxic chemicals that were in my cleaners and in my personal care items. So now I'm using more organic fruits and vegetables, and also washing my fruits and vegetables with LDC cleaner, and just to remove all the pesticides. My cancer was hormonally mediated, and what that means that it was triggered by my environment, not genetics. And so the environment creates, and I think you guys covered a bit of it, the xenoestrogens. And these are things from cleaners, the meats, the environment, that they mimic hormones. They pretend they're estrogen, and they create havoc on your cells. And that's one of the triggers for breast cancer as well. I'm constantly mindful of my environment. I can't take away all the risks, but I can minimize them. And of course, having less exposure and taking a detox, doing a detox every few months from reducing those toxins that are unavoidable. We have so many unavoidable toxins that are created in our bodies. And another thing is just having a supportive community. And that has helped me to thrive with family and nurturing friends. And one of the big things is having a purpose. And Neolife has given me that purpose. I use Neolife as a platform, I think, to educate people, to offer nutritional support for those wanting to be proactive, and also those who are going through an illness or just recovering from an illness. And as you mentioned, your body can heal itself given the proper nutritional support. And I'm so grateful for being a 30-year thriver and being able to see my children grow up. They were 4 and 10 at a time. And also being around to see my grandchildren and spend time with them. So Neolife has played a huge part in making all of this possible. Thank you for asking me to share, Nada.
Thank you. And I'm sure Mary Ellen just had such pleasure listening to you. We can hear your story over and over again, and just brings just such joy to our life. So thank you so much for sharing. Really appreciate that. And there's so many other issues that we can talk about when you're looking at hormones, and you're looking at, and anemia and when your menstruation stops as well, and dysmenorrhea, painful menstruation. That was totally me. My sister had completely lost her cycle. So these are some of the other challenges you have when your hormones are not balanced. And my younger sister, Diana, she was struggling with an eating disorder as a teenager, and we didn't catch it right away. And years later, when she came to us for help, we realized that she was so malnourished. Her hormones were not functioning properly. She didn't have a period for about a year. And long story short, she reached out and said, Nat, I need help. We put her on the basic hormone recipe with extra grain oils. And after 2 or 3 months, she got her period back. And then she was concerned that she might not be able to have children. And guess what? At age 40, she had her first, and 42, she had her second. So she's been so grateful that she's continuing to use the product. She's never stopped using the Neolife products, and they really have given her life back. So that's my sister. Then there's Deb is another friend of mine. I actually worked with her dad. He was a police officer on the force, and she reached out to me, and she had trouble getting pregnant, failed fertility treatments, and she called me for advice. And we put her on the supplements. We put her on the Formula 4, in the fish oil. And anyways, I have to say that when she called me to say she was pregnant and had her first son, we were like completely like thrilled. But what's really cool, so she wasn't even trying to get pregnant again. And I saw this post on Instagram, and then she posted this picture of this ultrasound. So I reached out to her and I said, what's this? She goes, oh, my naturopath told me that CoQ10 can help you get pregnant. because it helps to form strong follicles. And I started taking CoQ10. I got pregnant again, and she just had her baby boy I think just a couple of months ago. But so yeah, CoQ10 also plays a really big role that we weren't aware of, and it can help improve your chances of conception. And there was a doctor, Darlene Barton, a certified herbalist, and and also Christine Traxler, MD. They did these studies on CoQ10. So you can actually look at, if you Google these names, the studies do come up, which is kind of cool. Improves both egg and sperm health while playing a key role in protecting the DNA at a cellular level, which is kind of cool. And I'm going to have Mary Ellen come on board now and just share a little bit about the Neolife CoQ10, which is a product that we have as well.
I was so excited when they brought CoQ10 out because we've been asking for it for so long. And Neolife said, until we can get a whole food natural source, we will not bring it out. And they did. And it's so exciting because it not only supports like fertility, but heart health, cellular energy. And, you know, every cell in the body depends on it. And it's all naturally sourced. And it also has that phytolipid and sterol blend in the CoQ10 as well. And polyphenols, which, you know, are powerful antioxidants, and L-cysteine, which is very important for glutathione production, another very important pathway in the body. And it's absorbed. And that's the key. A lot of them out there, because they're not made from food, are not absorbed in the body. So you're basically wasting your money. And when you look at a lot of the other issues that women face, like as you mentioned, there's menorrhea, which is excessive heavy bleeding. So many people have that. One of the things I'm running into a lot is PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. And, you know, with women with that, they can get facial hair, their blood sugar goes up, they become infertile. So, you know, it's amazing when you just do that basic hormone recipe, it just puts it to sleep. And infertility, again, we talked about CoQ10 and extra formula 4 plays a huge role in that. And of course, PMS, acne, bowel irregularity, all of these things, you know, there's great support. And if you want a little more detail on the specific thing, you can talk to the person who invited you tonight, and we can, you know, give you more information on all the specific nutrients that key right into these conditions. And sinus problems, big one. Low libido is a big problem with a lot of women, especially when they're exhausted and tired. Endometriosis, which is, you know, like chronic candida, is a big cause of that. Fibroid tumors, I run into a lot of people with those. Ovarian cysts. And again, when the hormones are out of whack, the body grows these things, annoying things that drive us crazy, right? And menopause, you heard a few people, including myself, we sailed through menopause. Which is so nice because like I have people who, you know, sweat so bad they have to change their sheets during the night. They have heart palpitations. It's very miserable when you don't sail through menopause. Osteoporosis, our calcium plays a huge role. In breast cancer, you heard Joan's story. We have a lot of things that really help to support the body in these types of situations as well. And here's the whole list. Like we just touched on a few products, but there's so many.
You know what, we do have an array, and we talked about just the basic foundation, that breakfast solution, and, you know, possibly adding a couple extra things, especially if you do have, you know, some challenges. But start with the basics. And we always say start with the basics and see what it does, see how you feel, and just go that way. And what's really nice was we work together as a team to help and guide and support, and just hearing other people's stories and testimonials on what helped them, then we can always share that with you as well. And you're probably wondering, how do I get a hold of these amazing products? Well, Neolife has a wellness club, and it's free to join. As soon as you become a member, you automatically get a 10% savings. And when you go on NeoShip, it doubles your savings to 20% off retail, which is awesome. And so, for example, that Vitality Pack or that breakfast solution is a month's supply. So when you have it coming every month, you get that 20% savings, and you can get all your shipping back in 6 months. So you pay shipping for 6 months, they give it all back to you, and it's called loyalty points, and you can spend it on other products. And there's a way that we can help you get your products for free. Once you start feeling good and you start having all this energy and you start sharing it with your family and your friends, if you refer 3 people, your health pack is free. We also have fitness challenges, weight loss challenges that you can join. We have a Proven 33 program where we have a whole bunch of us now are on this, weight maintenance or weight loss journey. And there's amazing daily support. So if you'd love to be a part of a support system on your weight loss journey or your fitness journey, we would love for you to join our Proven 33 program. So these are the health solutions that we have. We have like I said, the Vitality Pack, the breakfast solution where you just do 1 protein shake a day, or we have our weight loss solution or Shape Up Pack where you can do 2 protein shakes a day. And that's for real great weight management support and just to help you sail through your weight loss journey. And if you'd like to learn more or hear some amazing stories and testimonials, we do have a Facebook group called Neo Life Healthy Living Community. We have over 10,000 members now in this group where people share their amazing stories and testimonials on their health transformations. We can invite you to this group, especially when you're friends on Facebook with the person that invited you. And there's one more option, and I can't not about this. If you or someone you know really enjoys helping others, and you're looking at a side gig or making an extra $100 to $500 a month or more, $1,000, or like myself, I wanted to have the time freedom and leave my career and work from home. There's a great income opportunity that comes along this amazing business as well. So just ask the person who invited you and we can share how that works. But if you just want to enjoy the products, give them a try. You can pay retail, you can get them at a discount. If you're looking at a little part-time income, again, just ask us. We can give you a little more information. And if you want to learn more, every Thursday, we have a specific talk like this where we talk about different health issues and share some powerful information. And every Tuesday, we have just a basic introduction. So that's somewhere you can come on and learn a little bit more about our breakfast solution. So again, I want to thank you so much for joining us. I want to thank all of you that have shared your amazing testimonials and stories tonight. And thank you, Mary Ellen, our holistic nutritionist, who is always there with some amazing information to help us understand the power of good quality supplements. So again, thank you for joining us tonight, and I'll open it up to questions. Give me 1 second.